Last 12 years I've been going to the Capitol and handing people my business card, and they'd look at that. 12 years ago, they look at that word sovereignty. If they knew what it meant, they would look at you askew. They would wonder, what are you, some kind of neo-Confederate or what? This is what's cool, folks. Sovereignty is now cool. In the Missouri General Assembly, we're talking about sovereignty. One of the most important and powerful men in our state, sitting behind this table right now, is a co-sponsor of four measures to help secure Missouri's sovereignty. That's where we've come. That's great. Now, this is an observation I want to make. As good as they may be, things like the repeal amendment, things like interstate compacts, they aren't sovereignty. Because as Kerry pointed out, with both of those things, you've got to ask permission from Congress. You've got to say, Mother, may I? And you know, maybe there are good things to do. Let's ask, Mother, may I? Maybe some of those things are good. But the only real sovereignty, the only real expression of sovereignty I know, besides electing good men and sending them up there, is nullification. It's the only thing that we have complete control of in Missouri, is whether or not we decide we're going to nullify unconstitutional federal edicts. And so for my question for the panel is, why not nullify now?
Okay. Go ahead, Gary.
Gary, don't let David answer. I'm wanting to respond to these over here.
Ron, I think it's an excellent question. I think that a lot of what we've been talking about tonight is what can be done, and I think that this is one option. Simply for a state to finally say, we will not consent to what Washington is demanding of us. I do think that if we are going to take that sort of a step, we have to be aware that there can be consequences for taking that sort of a stand. Nullification has a venerable history, as I'm sure a lot of people in this room know. There have been many examples where states stood up and said, we will not do what the folks in Washington are telling us to. My favorite examples of these are when northern states nullified the fugitive slave laws. And they said, we will not violate the individual liberty of these runaway slaves by sending them back into servitude. And so I think that nullification is a wonderful idea. I do think that it's something that needs to be discussed soberly and with a full awareness of some of the potential ramifications. But if we can get some of our folks in the legislature who are willing to draw a line, it is a viable alternative. It has been shown to be successful even in recent history. Congress several years ago passed the Real ID Act that a lot of states decided they would not implement, and they drew a line. And sure enough, Congress has not yet been able to implement that law, even though it remains on the books. That is the impact that we can have when states are willing to draw that line. And it's something that I do think that we should consider.